Hey guys, John with JRSP, John Reality Self-Protection, also the founder of the Cereal Method and head coach and advisor for that method. And I'm also the founder of American Dirty Danby Concepts, and I'm also a certified Medusa Edge weapon instructor. So real quick, I want to talk about this, uh, is it like Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf situation. So back when this all happened, I didn't really follow this. Like, I was busy with a bunch of stuff, life, and I wasn't really following this. But like I saw, like, well, it was a black kid stabbed a white kid, and I didn't really think much of it other than, well, that was pretty messed up, and like I said, I just really didn't follow it. And I see now that, and sorry, the hair is like crazy, but I see now that verdicts have just come in. Like I say, my hair is freaking doing something crazy, it's bugging me. Usually have a hat out here, but sorry about that. I see the verdicts have just come in. He's been, convicted, and like he's been he's going away for. I think that as far as I'm concerned, like still again, I'm not really following the case, but I think I've seen verdicts say he's going away for like 30 plus years or something. And so then I'm like, well, what really did happen? Because I never really, like I say, looked into or followed the case to see like what was the igniter of all this, what caused him to stab this Austin Metcalf kid and everything. And so I really looked into it, did a lot of research real quick, and being a Medusa Edge weapon instructor, I'm one of these guys, I'm also a violence crimes analyst, okay? I look at all these things to see, like, well, what happened? What went wrong here? What could we have done to, have a different outcome, possibly? So, but like I say, I've just been so busy in life. Third kid on the way. I haven't been looking into this. I haven't been making a lot of videos on this channel. I've been wanting to do a lot more with this channel, but I've just been so busy. But, I started doing the research, seeing what caused this, what made this kid decide to stab Austin Metcalf. God rest his soul, may he rest in peace. And what I found was that apparently Karmelo, or whatever his name is, it's like a lot of times like black people have names not like an out there name. So hopefully I'm not butchering his name, but I believe it's Carmelo Anthony, I believe. Well, from what I could find, it's like Karmelo was in a place that he shouldn't have been or something, and so Austin took it upon himself to tell him that he needed to get lost, basically. And then Karmelo was basically make me, put your hands on me and see what happens to you, or something like that. And apparently Austin decided to escalate the situation to physical, somehow he put his hands on him or something, and then he got stabbed. Okay, now that's just what I have managed to source up in just a little bit. So correct me if I'm wrong. Well, go over to the JRSP Instagram and correct me over there in the comments or whatever. Don't, because the comments are gonna be turned off. But the main thing is did Karmelo have a justification to pull out a knife and stab Austin Metcalf? No, he did not. Okay, if he was in a place that he shouldn't have been in, he should have just got his stuff, walked away, went to where he was supposed to be, and went home to his family. And then today we wouldn't be in the situation where we're watching him. He's going to jail for the rest of his life, and the kid was only 17 when this happened. So he's maybe he's 18 now, 19, who knows how old he is. He's still a kid in my eyes, because I'm 36. This dude's a kid, and he's going to jail for a good part of the rest of his life. Okay, he's going to jail for so long he may die in jail. So, and at the end of every video I say that there's a lot of situations that aren't worth your life, and they aren't worth your freedoms. And that's why I'm making this video at such a late hour, because this whole video is basically the embodiment of that. Okay, this situation wasn't worth this kid's freedoms, and this situation wasn't worth the other kid who died, Austin Metcalf, we'll say his name. It wasn't worth his life. Okay, did he deserve to die? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But he played a stupid game, and he won a stupid prize. Okay? And some people may get mad at me when I say this, like I'm talking ill of the dead or something, or whatever. No, I'm not trying to talk ill of the dead, and I'm not, trying to put any justification in Carmelo Anthony's court there. But the thing is, you never know how stable somebody is. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know, okay? And it could be just because something happened that day. Maybe this dude broke up with his girlfriend, or found out she was cheating on him, or something like that. You don't know what's going on in a person's brain, okay, that's got them in a bad way, and maybe they haven't revealed that they're in a bad way. Maybe they're not showing signs or whatever. Maybe they're freaking carrying the whole weight of their world on their shoulders, and it's about to collapse, and it's all they can do just to stay upright. And it just takes one thing to push them over the edge. And I'm not justifying what Karmelo Anthony did. I can say that 100 times. I'm not ever going to justify that, because there was no justification in what he did. Okay, he could have just walked away. He could have walked away. I say that at the end of every video. Whenever you can, it's always better just to walk away. He could have walked away. It sounded like he was in a place where he wasn't supposed to be anyways. He should have just walked away, but he didn't. But at the same time, from what I can gather, it seems like this dude Austin Metcalf went too far, okay, in his approach. Was the fact that Karmelo Anthony was there, was that worth his life? Okay, was that worth his life? The fact that Karmelo Anthony was someplace that he shouldn't have been, was that worth his life? Okay, that is what I try and get across to all you guys. Okay, there's a lot of situations that are going to happen to you in life, and they're not worth your life, and they're not worth your freedoms. Austin Metcalf is dead because he was triggered that Karmelo Anthony was somewhere that he wasn't supposed to be, and so he decided to take it upon himself and then put his hands on Karmelo Anthony. And guess what? Karmelo Anthony apparently was going through something, because you don't just freaking pull out a knife most times and stab somebody over something small like that, okay? But at the same time, I don't know what's going on in that area. I don't know with the race and stuff or whatever. You never know what all was going on. Was there a lot of racism in that area and stuff like that? And I don't even I'm not making this about race and racism, but I just don't know where this dude's head was at. But apparently it wasn't in a good place, because he pulled out a knife, and who knows, maybe this kid was bullied or something. We don't know what was going on. But I could say, was it worth his freedoms? Was it worth Austin Metcalf's life? Okay, so that's what I'm getting at. A stupid game was played. You don't have a right to put your hands on somebody, and if you're gonna put your hands on somebody, you best be prepared for the worst, because you never know what that person's going through. Okay, it's always best just to let somebody else handle it. I'm sure they were at some type of high school meetup or some sports meetup or something like that. I'm sure there was freaking coaches and teachers or something there, or whatever. If he was where he was supposed to be, find an authority or something. Go somewhere else. It's not worth your life, okay? And it's not worth your freedoms. Both guys, unfortunately, were in the wrong. Karmelo Anthony being in the greater wrong. The jury has spoken, apparently. And, he used, excessive force for the situation. It's that a level of force was not required. And that's why I try and tell people, I'm being a Medusa Edge weapon instructor. I carry knives for days, okay? I carry knives all the time. I got knives on me. I carry knives. But at the same time, when I'm carrying knives, I'm also carrying less lethal, okay? Less lethal, okay? Let's see here. Another knife. I carry knives, but a knife is the last thing that I want to have to reach for in a situation. It's the last thing I want to have to do to somebody, is have somebody's blood on my hands who, they're dead in the ground because I made a bad judgment call due to the fact that, I may have been going through some things, okay? I'm never going to do that, and I'm going to teach my kids never to do that, okay? I'm going to teach my kids to have less lethal and how to actually fight with their hands, okay? That's the thing that's going on in this world today, okay? And especially in this country, a lot of people, think they're that guy, but they don't know how to fight, okay? I see so many videos on Reddit and stuff where people are blowing up. I saw this video just recently where a dude was coming at this dude with a knife on the subway, and the dude had a skateboard. That's how you deal with a knife, okay? All this bullcrap knife defense like Krav Maga and stuff like that. No. How you the best knife defense is to have something that trumps a knife, okay? Somebody comes at you with a knife, have enough space to pull out a gun, or freaking know how to pull out a gun under duress, or have a baseball bat or something that could give you the space. I love this video. This dude, he warned this dude. You could see how he warned him and stuff, and the dude had the knife, and he still freaking kept on coming, and the dude took that skateboard and just jammed it into his throat. That's the best knife defense, okay? Other than running away. But you never know what somebody's going through. I'll leave y'all with this real quick. I knew this kid. This just happened recently. I knew this kid. Of course, he wasn't a kid. He's a man now, but in his 20s, younger than me. But his mom used to be the director of a YMCA that I used to work at. I didn't work at it when she was the director, but I worked at it when it was still when it was a YMCA before she became a director there or whatever. And I was a fitness instructor there. Well, Later on, after I stopped working, I was still could work out there, and his mom was director, and this kid was always around, and he always seemed like a good kid, and I always like wanted the best for him, and I felt like he was going places and stuff like that. Now when I look back on it, though, I feel like yeah, maybe I missed some signs, maybe he was a little strange, maybe he was a little off, but like he always seemed like a good kid to me, you know what I mean? And when I was working at Domino's, he happened to come in. And I saw him and I asked him how his mom was. And this was only like freaking last year, man. Like, so, and then all of a sudden I see on like our local sheriff department thing or whatever, I see that there was like a shooting at our local 7-Eleven or Speedway, 7-Eleven bought Speedway. So this location sells Speedway, but 7-Eleven, they're either or. But there was a shooting there. And then when I saw the name, dude who got arrested for the shooting, it was this kid, man. This kid who I freaking watched grow up. Did I see when he was like young? Okay. And he had his freaking 3-year-old son in the freaking car as he was shooting at this dude. And then I'm working with this dude now. Like, well, he filled a spot that I used to do like part-time, like where I work for the county. And this dude, like, he's got a good head on his shoulder, but it's a small world because he was like, yeah, a buddy of mine just passed away. And I was like, who was he? And he was like, yeah, it was such and such. And kind of funny, it was this exact same dude, man. Like, he got out of jail after he had gotten this shootout, or it wasn't even a shootout. He was shooting at some dude. Why he had his freaking son in the car, his 3-year-old son. That's horrible. Well, he was shooting at some dude. He went to jail. He got out. Then he was like going 100 miles per hour, like down this like road, man. And like he lost control of the vehicle and crashed. And now he's gone, man. And you gotta be hurting. You gotta be in a bad place in your soul, okay, to pull out a gun while your 3-year-old is in the vehicle, okay, and start shooting at somebody right there. How scared do you think his son was? Okay, you got to be in a bad place in your soul to, you know, get out of jail and to be going 100 miles per hour down a road that's like only like 55 or 60 miles per hour tops. You're going 100 miles per hour down that road, like to some party or something, because like you're hurting over a girl or something or whatever, and then you wreck your vehicle and now you're gone. You got to be in a bad place in your soul. And what's sad is, you know, now his family is without him. Now his son is without him. His son's without a father, and it's heartbreaking because I have a 4-year-old boy, I have a 1-year-old daughter, and I have I'm about to have another son. Like, he's about to be born. And I just couldn't imagine. I want to be here for as long as I can to be there for my kids for long enough so they don't need me anymore. You know, that's how my dad was for me. My dad passed at 65, but he lived long enough, you know, and taught me the ways and stuff. And, you know, he hung on even though this world, he was in a position, that's another story for another day, but my dad like was in a position where, you know, being in this world was painful to him, but he hung on into this world until I was old enough and strong enough to go on without him. And, you know, and that's when he let go, and that's how I want to be for my kids. But this dude, he left this world. His son's only 3 or 4, man, and that's what his son's gonna grow up into, and that's gonna put darkness in his son's soul. And think about Karmelo Anthony's siblings. You know, apparently he has siblings. You know, he's going away for the rest of his life, basically. That's going to put darkness in their souls. He was the oldest, or is the oldest, out of a couple siblings. You know, what happened to him and what he did, that's going to put darkness in their soul. Austin Metcalf had a brother, or has a brother. That's going to put darkness in his soul. What happened, you know, and nothing that happened benefited the world in any way right there. So you just have to understand, okay, when I say on this channel, you know, the majority of you are going to go through your whole lives without ever like having to be in a situation that's worth your life or worth your freedoms. You know, it's like, that is heavy. That means a lot, and you need to listen to that. You need to listen to that. Okay, and you need to take that into your soul right there. Whenever you're in a situation that, you know, is stupid, but you're thinking about doing something stupid, you need to like think about that and think, you know, it's like, you heard it here from JRSP. You know, hopefully this reaches a lot of people. Share this with everybody that you know, okay? Because this message needs to get out there, okay? The majority of you are going to live your whole lives without ever having to be in a situation that costs you your freedoms or your lives. And there's a lot more stupid that you can just walk away from. And it's always better to walk away when you can, okay? Both those boys could have walked away, okay? It's like, I don't defend, like I say it 1,000 times here, I don't defend Karmelo Anthony, but Austin Metcalf could have walked away too, and he would still be here right now, because I don't think that whatever Karmelo Anthony was doing was worth Austin Metcalf's life, you know, but he let it get under his skin to a point that, you know, he was having to get physical with Carmelo Anthony. And it cost him his life. And that's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking almost so much that it almost makes you want to cry. Okay? But I'm a real man, and, you know, it's like I'm not going to cry on camera. But, I mean, you know, I don't like anything like this. Okay? I don't like when people have to die like that. I don't like that kid who I knew from a young age, you know, wrecked going 100 miles per hour. You know, that's heartbreaking right there, because that kid should have lived long past me. He should have lived years past me, miles past me. And I should be looking down and watching him live his life, you know, happy with his kid. And it breaks my heart. But you guys always remember that shit. You need to take it easy, you know. It's like whenever you can, it's always better to walk away. Remember that.